What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you for watching this video. I appreciate all the insight that I got from so many people asking me to do something like this, and I think it's about the right time. I've been sim racing for about 2 years now. You know, the pandemic brought about a mass influx of people joining the sim racing scene, and that influx of people has inspired many companies to come out with so much gear, so much product. There's so much information. In fact, it's kind of information overload for those who are in sim racing right now. And I feel it's my civic duty as somebody who's made so many mistakes along this journey, along this path, that I should kind of put some information out for you all to have that I think would be beneficial on so many levels. Um, and I think it's time that I do it now as opposed to waiting and trying to find out more. I've done a lot of research, and actually I owe a lot of this insight and information to one of the guys that I've gotten to meet, like many of you, through my YouTube channel, who have given me insight, shared information with me, um, kind of asked me some questions, or just gave me some knowledge that's helped me along my journey. I've made mistakes along the way, like so many of us. You know, I wish I would have taken the buy once, cry once. And actually, I wish I would have taken insight like my guy Glenn, which I'm going to show you. This is Glenn, and I want to give him a ton of credit for what he has provided to me. And I'll share those details, but he kind of provided the blueprint, and he's done so much research and information on making the right purchase and making one purchase and saying, okay, this is my budget. I want to spend $2,000. I only want to spend but so much. I want to buy this. I want to have that. What's your insight based on what you've used, based on what you've talked about, based on what research I've done, based on what I've tried, and all those things. You know, we all get insight from so many people. So I really want to thank Glenn. This is his YouTube channel. He's really kind of new. He has about 253 subs. I mean, not far from me, to be honest. And he hasn't posted in quite some time, but he's, you know, working on figuring that piece out. But he's going to get a sim racing gear up, and he's going to get all of his stuff done. So I want to thank Glenn a lot for the insight he's provided in helping me to gather this information, as well as kind of putting that bug in me. I mean, I had a few other people on my channel kind of, again, give me some insight on some things to do. My buddy Neil's giving me a lot of insight as well. Like, hey, maybe you should do this. Actually, he's the one talked about starting up a race community. So just a bunch of insight, and I want to thank each and every one of you. And that's the reason why I think if you're looking for somebody to join me along this journey, because I do take your insight, I take the input, and I like to pay it forward with everybody else. So the main reason I am doing this is because I didn't have this information readily available, or nobody really gave me the insight. Everybody has videos. There's tons of videos on this review, on that review, or top 10 things I've learned, or top 5 things I've learned, or top 2 things, or the one thing you should do. But that's not really like, okay, you tell me your top 10, but I need to kind of know from the beginning what I should do, where I should start, how I should start. And I think the first important question you need to ask yourself is, do you like sim racing? Because I'm starting to see a lot of people on, you know, the Facebook marketplace and on eBay selling their entire rigs. I mean, people have invested 15, 20, $30,000 on all of this gear, and now they're saying, well, you know what? I want to sell it for $15,000. And don't get me wrong, that's a steal when you start to add up all the things they've purchased. But I'll be honest, part of the joy of sim racing is finding the one piece you want, and then upgrading and getting this piece and getting that piece. So buying a already built sim rig put together, for some that may be cool. I just want to buy it, plug and play, and be done. But part of it is the journey. So first and foremost, do you like sim racing? Because if you think you're going to sell all of your gear in 5 years, then I don't know if you should go down that path of making the massive purchase. Maybe get some good stuff, not something great. Maybe stay at the entry level and just enjoy it for when you can. But again, do you like it enough to invest the type of money it's going to cost you? If you do, then I think you should move on and follow me as we talk about the things we're going to talk about. If you think you don't, go ahead and turn me off, tune me out. Do subscribe though. Give me the thumbs up and turn them notifications on. But if you think, you know what, maybe sim racing isn't for me, then you don't have to watch this video, but you can keep enjoying my other stuff that's on YouTube. So I do appreciate that. So again, first and foremost, do you like sim racing? What should you do once you say, I think I like it, I want to find out more about it? So there's a bunch of different avenues you can take. The first and foremost, do not buy this wheel set. I don't care if you get it for free, even then, I would just skip it and give it away to somebody else. I bought it for my son. It is the worst experience I've ever tried for any type of sim racing. And I mean, that's including arcade sim racing and all kinds of crappy stuff. I'm pretty sure they're coming out with more products and they're trying to jump in, but it was a crappy experience. And hooking everything up and then connecting it to a controller, it was not. It was just, and I bought it for my son for for Christmas, and he ended up getting COVID, so he spent a lot of time in the room using it, and he just didn't like it after a while. He was like, "This not fun at all." So again, avoid this one for your first purchase. There are many other options out there, and we're gonna go over that. Okay. So first and foremost, you want to figure out if you like sim racing before you get to any purchases. See if you can find somewhere you can try it. If you live near a micro center, go. Many of them have rigs. Many of the micro centers are heavily investing into sim racing. Looks like they're going to start carrying Asetek gear, which is going to be cool. I mean, so not only do you have Moza gear right there, you have Asetek gear that's going to be there as well. And from what I understand, they're going to be expanding that sim racing scene even further because, again, they realize there's a market that would rather walk into the store, try it, and buy it right then and there than trying to order somewhere. So I'm really excited about Micro Center joining and saying, hey, we're going to give people a one-stop shop to come in. They may not have it all, but they have sim rigs, they have pedals and SemiCube and Moza and now Asetek. I mean, the litany of things they can add, and the fact that they have physical locations is going to be so beneficial. And I'm hoping that they expand it where they have separate areas, not just a rig set up in the video game area, but separate areas entirely that are dedicated just to sim racing. So I think I am really excited about where we're going with sim racing. So again, if you can try it at a friend's house, if you can try it at a micro center, if you can try it somewhere before you have to put any money down, that is the best bet. Now, what you see ahead of you or in front of you are some options if you're saying, I have nowhere to try it. I want to try it first. I want to buy my way in, but I want to do something cheap. You have a few different options. And there are cheaper options than the one I'm showing you. Some of them are going to give you experiences. But I would much rather you spend a little bit more, get a better first impression. Because if you spend a little bit more, and I'm not saying thousands more or even hundreds more, I'm talking maybe $50 more. One, look at the used market. That's what I did first. The first part I did, I think, was correct. I looked at the used market. I knew I liked sim racing or I like playing sim racing video games. I've been playing sim racing games by controller for decades now. I'm an old man, apparently. Um, but even beyond that, I knew I wanted to try and move further. But I wanted to start off entry. And I went ahead and I went and looked at the used market and I looked on Facebook Marketplace. Now, of course, you have Facebook Marketplace, you have eBay, you have Craigslist, you have a litany of various areas you can look depending on where you live, obviously. Some of you live in the States, some of you live on the north side, northern hemisphere, southern, wherever. I mean, people live everywhere, and we're all experiencing sim racing at different times, at different points in our lives. So look to the used market is where I'm going. Try a friend, try a location you can get in, try it for free. Maybe you pay an entry fee to go to a place that has sim rigs where you can try it for a quick 30 minutes, see if you like it. And if it catches you and that bug hits you, buy something entry level first before you make the plunge and dive really deep into this, because again, you want to make sure you have the space, the time, the money, and you really enjoy it. If you don't, then again, you're going to go down and spend all this money, and like so many people, you're going to be selling your sim rig 2, 3, 4, 5 years later. And I know everybody has different reasons. One of them that I've seen quite frequently is people are moving and downsizing, so they don't have space to put these rigs. And again, something you got to consider. What's your next 1, 2, 4, 5, 10 years like? Two, do you have a large family? Are you expanding your family? Are buying some sim gear going to stretch the finances to where you don't think it's going to be feasible, or maybe you find something small, cheap for now that fits in your budget, and you're good to go for the next, few years. So the four you see in front of you are kind of the ones that I've seen most people start out with, even myself. Whether you have the Logitech, um, you know, G29, you have the Thrustmaster, or you have two Fanatics up there. Depending on what experience you're looking for, you can find all of these on the used market. If I was to recommend any to start out with first, it ought to be the Logitech or the Thrustmaster, just because you can get the whole kit as you see there with pedals, and a wheel and wheelbase. Attach it onto a desk or to a wheel stand, which we'll talk about later, but you can plop it right on a desk, put your pedals on the floor, buy your favorite sim racing game, and try it right away. If you're on console, some of them will work with console. This Fanatic CSL Elite will, the CSW 2.5 will not. But again, some of the items will, some of them won't. Just depends on what you have. And again, you want to make sure that if, again, you're going to sim race, you want to make sure you enter at a point you can afford to, again, scratch the itch, but don't dive so deep that you spend thousands and then you realize you don't like it. So again, once you realize you like it, you try it, you think you're good, find something used. Go to eBay, go to Facebook Marketplace, go to whatever used area you can, to whatever secondhand market you can find in your area, and just look, see what you can find, get on the market, find it at the best price, and try and buy something that's bundled together. The Fanatic wheelbases are just wheelbases. That's the caveat. They're just wheelbases. You're going to have to buy a wheel separately and pedals, which is going to be more money than you probably want to spend. You can find those wheels on the secondhand market, but you're going to spend 80, 90 to 200 bucks on an entry level Fanatic wheel, and maybe 50, 60, 70 bucks on an entry level, set of pedals. Now with the wheelbase, you're somewhere around $400 or $500, and maybe that's not where you want to be to start. Maybe you want to be significantly less, and that's why the Logitech or Thrustmasters are going to be where you want to go first. You can find those on the secondhand market. I've seen them as low as $150. You can get the Logitech G29 and pedals. Sometimes you'll even see the the stick shift shifter in there, and pedals, as you can see on there, have a clutch. So you may get lucky and find all of those pieces. Sometimes you get lucky, you find all that and the wheel stand to go with it. So something that's entry level, something that again won't break the bank, something that will find out if you're really ready to dive deep into the sim racing scene. Because once you get to this point, if you really like it, then the best thing to do after this is save. Now, you got to figure out what you're saving for. And at the end of the day, right now, we're at this precipice of everybody trying to get you and grab you and keep you and hold you close. And one of those things that they're trying to hold you close with is, how can we get you, and I'm going to look at some information, how can we get you to spend money, buy an entry level set, and be ready to race? Now, like I was saying before, you start off with something that you can jump in that's free to try out and make sure you like it. You find something used, maybe you spend 150, 200 bucks max. Don't spend more than that. If you spend more than that, then you're going to want to look at these sets here. But you spend something cheap just to find out if you like it. Now, if you use it for free, or you go to one of these sim racing lounges and you do it with your friends, or you tried it and you go, I really want to do this. I really want to dive deep. Now you need to figure out a budget. How long are you willing to wait to get the things you want? You need to find out and do the research online, like many of us. Look at, okay, what are the best wheelbases and all these things, and we'll talk about those. But like you're seeing in front of you, these are the two. If you're going to, now you've decided you really like it, you want to jump right in and you want to start racing, and you want to get something that you can jump in and you can race, you can get pedals and wheels and wheelbases, and you can interchange things. And these are kind of the entry points of where you're going to start. What you see on the screen are the Fanatic and the Moza wheelbases, or their bundles that they have right now. This is the entry point that I think everybody who's thinking of starting, if you're going to start, unless you're ready to go big or go home and buy once and cry once, and we'll talk about that, this is the entry point. These are bundles, and as you can see, they are priced aggressively. You have the Fanatic wheelbase wheel and pedals at $399.95, and then you have the Moza equivalent to that for $499.95. The Moza, if I'm not mistaken, comes with the desk mount, so you can mount it on your desk. With the Fanatic one, I do believe you have to purchase that as well. Sorry, let me adjust in my seat here. You do have to purchase that as well. So again, for under $500, obviously there's shipping and maybe local VAT taxes depending on where you are, which is just crazy when I hear about some of the taxes some areas have to pay. I can't believe it at times. But with that being said, these are really the entry points to, I want to buy something new, I want to get it all set up. I mean, you can sometimes find these on the used marketplace for people who already have them. They want to get rid of them, like myself, and upgrade. But you're probably not going to find a bundle where you're going to get everything for $400 or $500. So this is a really good bundle for something new. These are their 5 Newton meter wheelbases. And by Newton meters, that's just the amount of force that you're seeing when you're, racing on track. How much force can it put out, or force feedback? So with that being said, those there are going to be, again, $400 and $500. Get some water. So moving past this, what we're going to get to is the next wheelbases that I think are now going to put you into that. You have your entry level. Those are the 5 Newton meters. Not a lot of force feedback. Definitely a smooth racing experience, but not a lot of force feedback when you're racing. You're not gonna get those details that you're really wanting to look for, and you're not gonna get those details that I think a sim racer needs to be consistent, not necessarily fast. You'll see that there are some people out there that can be extremely fast, while there are others out there that can be far more consistent with something that's given them the right type of feedback. And what you're seeing on the screen here now is a few different wheelbases that are anywhere between 8 Newton meters and the 10, 11 Newton meter strength. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick look, and I'm not going to go over each individual one in a sense where I'm going to give you all the details of what they do and how they do it. But you can see the price point starts at $439, and that's your Moza R9, has 9 Newton meters of force, and it goes all the way up to $999. You're probably asking, like, wow, that's an entry level set. Why is it so expensive? Well, that is Logitech's bundle that also includes console compatibility, which many of these do not, outside of the one which is the Fanatic CSL DD, which is either $449 or $599. The reason why I have two prices there. Fanatic has 2 wheelbases that are 8 Newton meter. The Newton meters actually come from their power supply. Based on the different type of power supply you purchase, will depend on whether or not you are able to run that wheelbase at 5 Newton meters or 8 Newton meter. So when you see their entry level bundle, the entry level bundle for Fanatic, and I'll go back again, is that $399.95. That's only going to get you the ability to play it on PC and Xbox. So you do get some console compatibility. With the Moza system, you do not get any console compatibility. It's all PC all the time. Going back to this slide here, what you're going to see is, if we were to look right here, $449 is, again, their non-console compatible, but you do get Xbox support because Xbox is vastly different. You purchase it for $599. Now you get PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and all the console compatibility you want, and you get the full 8 Newton meters of force. And again, you get the 8 Newton meters at $449, but again, that is only for PC and Xbox support. So if you want PlayStation support, it has to do with licensing and the chip inside the wheelbase itself, then you're going to want to spend the extra money. And if you're in console, that's really your best option, I'll be honest. If you're wanting to have console support, you play F1, you play Gran Turismo, you want to play those games, They look a little different in the way the CSL-DD is. They have the GTDD, CSL-DD, which again is for console support. But then looking past that, let's say you're on PC. All of these are going to work with PC, but again, the prices range. So you have your 439 there for the Moza R9, which is 9 Newton meters. You have the CSL-DD, which is 8 Newton meters at 449 for PC. You have Moza's new R12, which is 12 Newton meters at 589. You have the SimMagic Alpha at 539, and you have the Thrustmaster in Logitech. And again, the Logitech is $999 because it comes with a wheel. If you want to play it on console, it has full console support for both Xbox and PlayStation right out of the box. You get the wheel in the wheelbase at 11 Newton meters for $1,000. If you're on PC, it's not necessarily the best deal. There are many options out there that you can take that give you far more options when it comes to other peripherals or steering wheels you want to add to your wheelbase. So that is a great option for those, again, who are on console, who want 11 Newton meters of force. And again, there are still other options you have out there for ones that are going to work on console. So that's where you have to decide. Are you only a console player? Because you will be limited in what options you have. Now, there are, drive hubs you can use to connect wheelbases to consoles, but then you lose quite a bit of support. You don't have the type of feedback that you have if it's directly compatible with PlayStation and you have the license. So that's where you definitely want to be careful in how much money you spend and what you spend and what you're willing to do. Because if you're solely on console, you have a very limited amount of options. And again, I think when looking at those options, Fnatic is probably the best bet if you're on PlayStation. If you're on Xbox, you have further options. And again, I still think Fnatic is likely going to be your best bet just because, or Fanatec, depending on how people say it. I say Fnatic. They're probably going to be your best option because you get a lot more options when it comes to wheels and pedals and console support, and just the compatibility with Fnatic is probably going to be your best bet if you're on console. But you do again have Logitech options and things like that, like again on the first slide, the G29 and stuff like that. So you do have some options with console, but if you're on PC, you have far more options. And again, whether you're using Moza, SimMagic, Thrustmaster, Logitech, they're all gonna do what you want them to do. They all work pretty well. I've had experience with a few of them myself. I've had various end users or people who tell me, hey, right, I've used this, I've used that. I prefer this over that. And again, I'll let you choose that. If you want my opinion, I'm always willing to give it. But again, you see the litany of prices that you have at this price range. And again, outside of your bundles, this is really your entry level point. Like if you're saying I'm just starting out, 5 Newton meters, I would recommend, if you really like it, to bypass the 5 Newton meter, because you're spending money that you could spend somewhere else. But if you think 5 Newton meters is enough, like maybe you're buying it for your son, he's 11, he likes sim racing, you want to get him something cheap and expensive they can put on his desk. Oh, $399 is perfect. $499 is excellent. Let that have them for a few years and then upgrade them later. Even if you're just starting out, if you have the money, I'd say save it. Get an R9, get a CSL-DD, SimMagic Alpha. Those three I would definitely recommend because there's some options you have later. Again, deciding whether or not you're on PC or console is key, but there are more options you'll have later. So next we have our mid tier. Okay, we had our entry tier. Have an R5 bundle, and like those are I just want to try it out. I don't want to spend a ton of money. I'm gonna put it on my desk. I'm gonna race every now and then. I want a brand new set. I have some options with whether it's changing wheels. You'll get some options with that, which we'll discuss in a little bit. But again, forgive me. The R9 and 9 Newton meters is probably where you should start, but you do have those bundles as options. This is kind of your mid tier point. And you'll see the price range varies in the mid tier. And it varies because, one, it varies by Newton meter. In sim racing, there's no quick way of saying, well, Everybody is going to have a 20 Newton meter wheelbase. Everybody's going to have a 15 Newton meter, a 10 Newton meter. No, it's not how it works. It's kind of really all over the gamut. Just depends on where companies want to go. Um, in some ways, wish it was quite universal in, wheel specs as far as mounting systems to make your life easy. If we had a QR, standard, everybody's creating their own. So this way you buy one wheel, but you change wheel stands and you got to get a new wheel stand or a new mount. There's so many different things that are not plug and play. It's kind of the wild, wild west right now, but I think so many companies are figuring it out along the way, whether they include a QR or just say, hey, we'll give you a bolt pattern, you get whatever QR you want. So you do have those options. But again, this is the mid range. And by mid range, you're going to really see the Newton meters go up from about 15 Newton meters all the way up to about 21, 22 Newton meter. Just depends on where you are. But again, this is your mid tier. So what you're seeing here, and one of the ones I did not actually include in the entry tier was the Asetek. Um, oh my goodness, their entry level. Can't remember the name of their entry level. The La Prima. There we go. Sorry. Because it's not. You can only buy it in a bundle, and I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of bundles. Because maybe I don't want your pedals, or I don't want your wheel. If I want it, great. That all works. Oops, sorry about that. I really gotta fix that light. Maybe I don't want your bundle, or I don't want your wheel, or maybe I like just one part of it. So I'm giving you prices based on a la carte. You can look into bundles, especially if you're looking to buying into ecosystems. Ecosystems give you the ability to just plug and play with wheels and pedals and things like that. But again, you're kind of locked into that ecosystem with some. You do have options to use other things outside of it, but it's just more things you have to buy to use it. So that's where you have to be tricky. I kind of like the plug and play, but again, even with that, you have your caveats there. So looking at all of these, I am looking first down here. We have the SimMagic Alpha. Puts out about 15 Newton meters of force, 769. You have what I have, which is the VRS Direct Force Pro. Absolutely love it. The only thing I despise about it is this box and all the two cords that come out the back. It's just a lot of hassle, to be honest, to get it all set up. But once you got it set up and you're good to go, you're fine. You won't worry about it. But again, that's 20 Newton meters of force for $800. And we'll talk about price to Newton meter at some point in the future. But I tell you, price to Newton meter is the best value you're going to see. And then you have your R16 by Moza, which is $879. You have your Fanatic DD1 and your SemiCube Sport. Again, these wheelbases as well as the Asetek Forte are similarly priced. And you're getting anywhere from 17 Newton meters. I think it's 16 Newton meters to about 20 Newton meters, depending on what you buy. So again, the range of things that you have the option of purchasing in the mid tier kind of gives you a lot of room. And I think the mid tier is kind of where all of us should end. The mid tier is really the gold standard of where we should be. Because to be honest, like for me, I have the VRS Direct Force Pro at 20 Newton meters. I will never need more than 20 Newton meters. As long as I have a smooth ride and great feedback and I'm able to get the granular details I need when I'm driving, you'll never need anything more than that. So I would tell each and every one of you, consider your maximum output you're going to need. You start off at 5, depending on where you start off. If you start off with an entry level use set, you may start off at less. But 5 Newton meters in of direct drive force. And direct drive is able to get that input out to you faster than some of the old wheels bases that were geared based, gear and belt driven. So these are direct drive. It's a smooth, depending on which wheelbase you use, it can be a very smooth interface when on. But again, it's direct drive. So you can literally keep spinning the wheel in one way or the other because there's just the moving magnet in the middle. With that being said, Direct drive's where you're going to start. It's where you want to be. You get better feedback. And again, just gives you better options in the long run. It's just a much smoother ride overall. But this is really where you should stay. Going any further than this, you're just kind of asking for torture. You know, most will be at the 9 to kind of 12 Newton meter, or 8 to 12 Newton meter. That's kind of like the sweet spot for majority of people. You have people like me that think, well, I need a little bit more, but I don't need 20. 20 is really overkill. That's a very heavy, lot of force, and the higher you go, you can break body parts with these because that kind of force coming back at you is quite intense. Um, so this is kind of the range you want to be at. Then you got to decide, okay, which ecosystem, or do you want to be in an ecosystem? Moza, Fnatic, SimMagic, and Asetek are all setting up ecosystems. SemiCube's kind of getting there with an ecosystem since they have their own wheel and now they have their own pedals. But they're still really standalone. That's how people buy them. You really only buy the SemiCube wheelbase. You may buy their active pedals if you have $5,000 just lying around. Um, and their steering wheel, I mean, I hear it's okay, but I don't know many people that have it, that use it. It's cool, it's Bluetooth, but I don't know many people that use it at all. Many people use so many other different wheels, and we'll talk about peripherals in just a little bit. Um, but with that being said, this is the mid tier. I think everybody should stop at the mid tier and then decide if you want to be in an ecosystem or if you want to be like me. I bought the VRS because I want to do my own thing. It's the best price per Newton meter. The software was updated, so now I've got the level of detail that I was looking for based on reviews, and I am good. I won't need anything more than that. And again, the price per Newton meter was great. So I would say stick to the mid tier. But some of the benefits of going with an ecosystem like Asetek, Fnatic, Moza, or SimMagic, and they have a much more defined ecosystem. They have wheels, they have pedals. You can feed it into the base. Between Moza and Fnatic, Moza and SimMagic, they're using wireless as well as Asetek, so there are no wires that are connecting anything. You know, the wheels are really awesome. Fnatic is wireless. It does have pins, kind of like you see the Asetek there. And the QR system for Fnatic, I'll be honest, that's really their downside. That QR2 that I've seen pictures of and watched how it's in use, not really my favorite. With SimMagic, with SimiCube and VRS, you can use whatever QR system you want. You can take off theirs and just put your own on. I actually have an NRG style quick release that I use. Same as the one that's on Moza and the one that's on SimMagic. You can use it on the SimiCube, and I obviously have it on my VRS. Both Fnatic and Asetek also lock you into their QR system, just like Moza and SimMagic. But I will say it's far easier to find replica SimMagic and Moza NRG style because it's an industry standard for real race cars. So you can find those, and again, you can use it on SimiCube and VRS, whereas you're never going to find a Fnatic QR outside of Fnatic, same as Asetek. They're proprietary and made by them, so you have to rely on them to put out the QR, and buying the QRs can be quite expensive. I can buy an entire NRG QR and just buy attachments for it. I actually buy some from Moza because they're the cheapest ones I can find right now. If anybody knows where I can find them cheaper, but they're 59 bucks, and I can buy as many QRs as I want. I just ordered two from SimMotion for my new wheels that are coming on the way. So again, mid tier is where you should stay. Price per Newton meter, depending on what you're looking at, whether you want 21 Newton meters, 20 Newton meters, just all depends. But again, anywhere from roughly about 17 to 21, 22 Newton meters is where the mid range is typically. I mean, that's what you really want to stay. And I think it's perfect for you. The last is what I call the top tier. Now you'll see like the Moza R21 is only 21 Newton meters, and it could technically be in the mid tier based on things like my VRS, but that's their top end wheelbase right now, unless they come out with another top end, and that's got 21 Newton meters of force, which is really going to be fine. The SimMagic Ultimate has 23 Newton meters. So again, more than enough to do what you want to do. SimiCube has 25, the Invicta has 27, and then that beast of $2,949 is 32 Newton meters of force. I don't know anybody who needs to use 32 Newton meters. You will never crank up your wheel that high unless you just want to torture yourself. It's not even fun. People have hurt themselves on camera trying to use their wheelbase at 32. You crash and it will kill you. It is coming down crazy. So yeah, but these are the top tier. If you are setting up, and I'll tell you this, and I'll be honest with you, if you have the money and you are setting up a complete motion rig, top of the line, spending top dollar, get the best. If you've got it, and I'll tell you, if I had it, I spend it and I get the best just because I can. At the end of the day, you only live once, and buy once, cry once. So if you're saying I want the best wheelbase on the market that I can get with the most power, 32 Newton meters, yep, get that SimiCube Ultimate. Huge amount of power draw, but get that. To be honest, if I was going to say get the best one you could buy, is probably the Invicta at $1,549 because it's like 27 Newton meters. And it's more than $1,300 cheaper. Actually, $1,400 cheaper now that I look at it. So the price per Newton meter on that SimiCube Ultimate is just too high to swallow. I would avoid it at all costs. I still think the SimiCube Pro is the gold standard at $1,379. I think there's nothing better. That's just my personal opinion. I have never tried the Asetek Invicta. The reviews make it sound like it's the greatest wheel on the market, and it may be. But for me, SimiCube's been doing it for a while. I know there's a Leo Bogner and some other wheelbases that I have never tried. Now, I'm not including them because many of us aren't going to go that path. But again, to me, SimiCube is kind of that gold standard for us regular sim racers, I guess you would say. And I think the price, if you're going to get the best you can afford, get the SimiCube 2 Pro. The Asetek Invicta, not really a fan of the QR or their wheels at the moment, but you will be able to run third-party wheels on them pretty easily. So again, looks great for some. I don't like the design. I like the SimiCube personally. But that Invicta, $1,549, 27 Newton meters. If you want the top of the line outside of that Ultimate, that is the price as well. So again, you have your options. Again, the saying is buy once, cry once. No matter where you start, once you decide if you really like it, save. The key to this is save first. Make sure you know everything you want. Write it down. And I'm going to show you what my guy Glenn did, which I think is the brightest idea ever, to figure out what you're going to spend your money on inside a budget. Okay? So what we're going to do is look at this next slide. So this next slide is really now all the other things you got to consider. And the other things really are, you want a sim racing dash? What wheel are you going to get? You going to get pedals? Button box? What kind of rig do you want? There's so many questions. I'll tell you where I started and what I think you should do. First and foremost, if you can start on a desk, to try it, start on a desk. If you know you like it because you tried it at a friend's house and you absolutely love it and you just want to go headstrong in, buy a full rig. Now, there are many different types of rig. The rig you see there is what I currently have. It's the GT Omega Prime. It's the fully loaded 160/40 profile rig. That seat I don't like. I have a Trak racer seat myself. That seat's too flat. It doesn't sit at the right angle that I want. But everybody's different. I did not enjoy the seat. It wasn't very comfortable compared to what I have, except what I have, I need a lumbar support because there's not much lumbar support. With that being said, the rig is absolutely solid. I absolutely love it. One thing I had to do with my VRS is drill holes because not every mounting solution is solved. But if I can get a front-facing mount and just mount it on that way. But I like it the way I have it. I'm not spending any more money. So a full profile rig, if you have the space and the money, go full profile rig if you can. But that's only if you really, 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 really love it. If you don't, stay on your desk or get a wheel stand. You can see I have the wheel stand right in the center of the page here. And that wheel stand, that's what I started out with. I actually didn't have a desk. I went straight to a wheel stand. I had a CSL Elite. I had CSL Elite cheap $80 pedals. And I had a McLaren G2 V2 wheel, GT V2 wheel, whatever. Um, Made some upgrades. Eventually, I got CSL Elite load cell pedals, the version ones. I got them used because again, you can't break in the cheap pedals. So again, when choosing any of this, if you're choosing pedals, and maybe I'll do a video just on pedals and wheels. Um, but pedals, load cell. Once you try it, you know you like it. Load cell, load cell, load cell. You can get a cheap pair of load cell. You'll be more consistent. Trust me. Load cell pedals, when you start, are going to be the best and most consistent thing you'll ever use to make you faster. Good wheelbase, good set of pedals, solid rig to mount it to. Any steering wheel will do. Really, to be honest, any steering wheel will do. I see people racing GT races in round wheels. If you watch, I think it's Emily Jones. She races and she uses a round wheel for many things, and she is quick as hell. So you can be quick with any wheel. Decent pedals, decent wheelbase, solid stand, a rig will be the best investments ever. You can see I have a few wheels on there. I have a dash. Um, I haven't played with the Hyper wheel from GSI, and I really want to try that. I had the Cube controls, and I have the Bavarian Simtec wheel. Love them both. Got rid of the F Pro myself because of the grips. And again, wheels are so subjective. Some people love the grips on the F Pro. I wasn't a big fan of them. Some people like the grips on one wheel better than the other. And again, it's so subjective. Pedals are so subjective. They are really expensive. Do you race in socks? Do you race in racing boots? Do you wear your sneakers? Do you go barefoot? That will make a difference on what type of pedals you use. I had the heusinkveld sprints that you see on the top right of the screen or top left, depending on how you look at it. And then for me, now I have the SimGrade pedals down here, and I absolutely love them. Like, I'm not upgrading anytime soon. My next set of pedals will be when I have, $30,000 to spend on this thing, and I can get some sort of active pedal made by maybe somebody else at that point in the future. And then, do you want a sim racing dash? Do you not? Will you use the one on the screen? Do you have enough space? Do you have enough room? So again, you have that option as well as button boxes. But then that doesn't even explain monitors. Are you racing from one big monitor, one curved monitor, triple monitors like I have? Well, I have 4 to be honest. These things again cost a lot of money, a lot to consider. Make that decision early what you want to do. Again, if you have somebody local, a friend that you can try it, see what you like. I personally think triple monitors is the best thing. Many people go with curved because it's just one monitor. You don't have to worry about multiple things. Everything depends on space. One curved monitor is vastly different than triples, which is vastly different than one large monitor, which is vastly different than people who do VR. So everybody has a different experience and everybody has a different budget. Figure out your budget. That's the most important part. And what I want to do is I want to show you what Glenn, the guy that I have on my Discord, and this is what I love about Discord, this is what I love about the sim racing community. He put this together, which I think is the most awesome thing in the world. What he basically has done is figured out what his budget is and priced out all of the brands and their wheelbases, the Newton meters they have, what the power draw, the resolution, the price, and then the price per Newton meter. Now, this is not going to tell you about reliability. It's not going to show you the quality and the return process and the brand and awareness and all those things. It's not going to tell you about the wheels and whatever those other options you have are. But this is a good way to start and to look and say, hey, how much do these things cost and where's the best value? Because if you looked at the best value would actually be the Camus GT1 at 15 Newton meters, so $499 at $33.27. I wouldn't recommend that for anybody. Wasn't even in my presentation. I wouldn't recommend it based on what I have heard from others who have had it. I wouldn't recommend it currently at this point in time. Not saying it's bad, But looking at like my VRS is $39.95 per Newton meter. And then you have some in the 40s. So it all depends. And then you have the SemiCube 2 Ultimate, which he did, has the highest, $92.16 per Newton meter. The Logitech Pro, $90.91. However, the caveat, it ships with the wheel as well. So the wheel and table clamp. So that's a little different. He's got his finalists, he's got combos, he's got his sim rig, and he's parted out what it would cost. At the end of the day, this is what we all should be doing, making smart choices when it comes to using our money. And by making smart choices, it enables us to race faster, race more consistent, be able to be happy with what we have, knowing we want more. If you are a sim racer, you always want more. I will not doubt that. More is what we want. More is what we crave. More is what we deserve, because we've raced fast, we've raced hard, and we are dedicated to the cause. I'm saying that in hyperbole because, as we know, we shouldn't get any more. We should find a happy place and stick there. But I say that as a person who just got a new set of pedals, who just ordered a new wheel he didn't need. But you know what? It's a hell of a good price, and PayPal financing is great. Affirm is awesome. Klarna is amazing. I don't pay any interest anymore, so it's like, yep, win, 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 win on many of these things. So if you like what I shared, if you think there's more details I should share, we are at the finish line. We have completed the race up until this point. Maybe we will run another race and go over more details. If you think there's things I need to add, things that I missed out on, things I should include, more insight you think you want, by all means, leave me a comment down below. If you think I'm worthy of the subscription after this point and you've watched all of this, go ahead and subscribe. Give me the thumbs up and turn the notifications on. If you want to go down below and click on any of the links that I do have some affiliate links. Anything you click on pays a little forward to me. You don't have to. It's not necessary. I will buy it of my own money like all of you, but I appreciate it if you do. I'm going to be setting up some community races here soon, and I'm interested in possibly setting up memberships, but I don't really get it because I'm not sure what I would be offering at this point. So having people sign up for a membership when I'm only going to read your name, I don't know if that's worth it to you. If it is, you let me know. But that to me just seems like an easy way to get money from people, but I don't know why. I don't really get it. I don't have anything extra to offer right now, but I do appreciate you all joining my channel and joining me for the fun. So as always, I hope to see you on track. I hope you like my podcast. I'm going to tell you to subscribe yet again, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.